Animation was already established in the first one really, really well. I think in terms of motion itself for the characters, I think we just took that and then kept on pushing, expanding, but it's not vastly different.
The name's Kitty, and these are my associates.
So you're like the bad girls.
We need the bad guys for the biggest heist in history.
Yeah, I mean, definitely the idea was to keep the same style and same tone. In the second one, and just expand on it a little bit. I wanted to make it like bigger, bolder, and better, of course. First of all, the first thing to do was like make sure that I had the same team that knew the style of the first film really, really well and could expand upon it. The second thing that you have when you're making a sequel is like you literally have you can build on the technology and the characters and the assets that you already built on the first one. So you can build and expand upon it. And then we had that luxury because in between the two movies, we didn't really change the technology per se, the pipeline at DreamWorks. But at the same time, we could benefit from technological advances from Puss in Boots or Wild Robot. And just mine that, or Panda 4, we can mine that and just like use some of that tech, some of those, what had been developed there just to improve some of the visuals we had done. So we did some tweaks on the characters. We did some, pushing a little bit of the visual language, texturing, more texture, more painted matte paintings, more line work. We improved on the amount of lenses or the range of lenses that we had. So like kind of like camera work, we can definitely like push that towards a more live action feel. But at the same time, also stylizing more the texturing of the world we had. And then in terms of animation, animation was already established in the first one really, really well. I think in terms of motion itself for the characters, I think we just took that and then kept on pushing, expanding, but it's not vastly different. We still did tons of drawovers, so it feels a bit more 2D in a way, in particular for action scenes. Mainly what we did is expand thanks to new characters, and so that you had to define new characters and new ways of moving with those three bad girls, and come up with solutions for how they would move and how they would behave. But the style itself is pretty much the same thing, thanks to us having a team of artists that already worked on the first one and knew that world really well. I mean, look, it's been a very strong partnership with Aaron Blaby from the beginning. And yes, you're right, they're beloved. And so therefore you have to make sure that the fans find themselves within the movies. But at the same time, when we started the first film, first of all, the following, the readers, there was not as many as there is now. And so Aaron and us had an understanding, and he really wanted us to open the doors to his world, like just push and explore, based on his work, explore the world of the bad guys. The idea was to just what would be a movie experience of the books, and we never really wanted to follow the storyline of the books themselves, but we wanted to use the characters, use some moments, use some set pieces that he had created without necessarily being stuck to one of the storylines that he was developing. So what it does is like it leads you to going to space. It leads you to mind-controlled guinea pigs. It leads you to or of course the characters, but it also leads you to the Wolf Diane relationship. It leads you to the three bad girls that in the books are actually part of Diane's crew, and they are heroic characters, but we made them villains. So we use characters, we use elements, we use gags, but we create our own story so that you really have a continuity between movie 1 and 2, and it doesn't move as fast as the books. The books move really, really fast and go really, really far, and I think we can't really afford that pace on the movies. We need to be a bit slower than that. I mean, look, this character is incredibly fun to be with. Again, it's a world that is so fun to play. It's such a phenomenal sandbox or tool, the play box, because you have a grounded world, human world that we know. It's Los Angeles, it's Cairo, it's California. So we know that world, and on top, but within that world, that is somewhat grounded, real cars, real rockets, and whatnot. on top of that, you just add characters that are like animals, and that can kind of do anything they want. They can really push the cartoon quality of these characters. In the first movie, we have a meteorite that is like a mind controlling guinea pig mind controlling machine. So already we're just outside of the limits of realism, and you really then have a grounded world in which you can push that limit, and so it's completely open. So that's an incredibly exciting canvas to play with or paint on. So going back to the number 2, and you could deepen the relationship of these characters within a canvas, is incredibly fun and exciting to do. I think the premise of this one, which is the bad guys, like those crazy thieves, need to be now they're hunting for regular jobs and they're trying to be normal people. That was such a fun concept from the beginning that excited all of us, because at this point you're seeing them in a completely different context, and you really can dive into like relationship problematics and having to see, you can follow them having to surmount these problems. That was very fun for us to play with. And then at the same time, we also knew that I wanted something bigger, more based on action films, with bigger set pieces and bigger locations. And I think, it really expanded the world itself. We could really have these characters travel further and play with the physicality of our characters. That I think that was the really exciting part of it.
Are you kidding me? Lefty loosey, righty tighty.
Oh, right.